Avi Hyman is a spokesperson for the Israeli government. Good afternoon, Mr. Hyman.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on.
What is so wrong with recognising a Palestinian state?
Well, I was happy to hear that Hamas is now not the flavour of the month. But to be quite clear, the Palestinian Authority isn't that much different. The Palestinian Authority pays terrorists for every Jew that they've killed. They pay their families money for life. The Palestinian Authority educates from birth to hate, want to kill Jews and perpetrate genocide on our people. The Palestinian Authority to date has not condemned the October 7th massacre. So what would be the difference? We gave the Palestinian Authority Gaza in 2005.
The Palestinian Authority would not accept some of the things that you have just said there. But so just come back.
I'm not sure which one.
Do you accept ultimately that Palestinians should have their own state?
That's something that can be discussed at the table. They have rejected the notion of having a Palestinian state on multiple times. But now, choosing the timing now when Israel's fighting an existential war, a fight for our very survival, it's choosing now to declare that is a prize for terrorism. Hamas are happy, and I'm sure the Palestinian Authority, which is run by a Holocaust denier who wrote his PhD thesis on denying the Holocaust, is also very happy, as are the many terrorists seeking destruction.
Norway said that recognising the Palestinian state is in Israel's interests. And there are, you will know, many countries who think that Israel, in its current actions, is acting against its own interests.
Israel is doing its absolute utmost to go after Hamas, to destroy Hamas, bring home the hostages, and ensure that Gaza doesn't pose a threat to us. We're doing that in a way that no other army has done in history, to go after the terrorists and avoid civilian casualties. We're seeing the world eat up numbers, fake and fabricated civilian casualty numbers from Hamas and their collaborators in various international organizations, and use that as a weapon of war against us. This has to stop.
Yeah, you will know that Hamas is reappearing in areas that it's supposedly been cleared from, and the US intelligence on how many Hamas fighters have been killed is not encouraging.
We're going after the Hamas battalions. We have 4 of the last battalions that we're going after in Rafah successfully. We were told, how could we possibly do that with 1.2 million civilians there? In about 2 weeks, we've moved out close to 1 million. No other army does this. No other army drops millions of leaflets, phone calls, text messages to get people out of harm's way, and then gets condemned for it.
Well, because of the cost in civilian lives. Ultimately, do you accept?
How many civilian lives? The numbers are false. We have put out numbers saying that we've killed close to 15,000 terrorists.
How many civilians do you think you've killed?
About the same amount of civilians. That's what the Prime Minister said last night. So that's a ratio of combatants to civilians of close to 1 to 1. That's better than any Western army in history.
And a price worth paying, is it?
We're still being condemned for doing better than any other.
Is it a price that you think
there is not a single civilian life should have been lost. Not a single civilian life. Everyone is a tragedy. For us, it's a tragedy. For Hamas, it's a strategy. And the world is eating it up and awarding them with a Palestinian state.
Well, ultimately, of course, this is about the politics. Do you accept that eventually there will need to be a 2-state solution, Palestinians and Israelis living side by side?
Again, Israel's a democratic country. If the people of Israel decide that, if there are negotiations and it is reached, that is a discussion to be had. The Palestinians have rejected a Palestinian state time and again for the last 100 years. So this isn't something that can, if Norway and Spain and Ireland want to make some declaration to say, just so you know, we're on the wrong side of history, let them make their declarations. It doesn't help Palestinians on the ground. It doesn't help Israelis on the ground. It doesn't lead us nearer to peace.
How do you feel about the fact that these are friends? You know, you look at Ireland, Norway, Spain, and they're doing something that Israel is very uncomfortable with.
I think they've been spoon-fed false numbers, false figures of what we're doing in this war. There is no famine in Gaza. There is no starvation in Gaza. These are lies. This is fabricated.
It's all lies the rest of the world is telling, is it?
Absolutely. We are on the ground. We see the busy markets in Gaza. We see the half
the United Nations and all the aid agencies are lying.
Yes, they're infiltrated by Hamas. Hamas is infiltrated. We know the UN. We know that we found Hamas activity in a UN school today.
Avi Hyman, Avi Hyman, thank you very much. Now, the